7 and of The Artist's Way. And it's all about recovering a sense of connection and kind of like opening up to like connection to a higher power and really like letting your creativity, serving as a vessel for your creativity and for your art, which would require you to be connected to your higher power. The shadows are like, I keep having to move because just the time of day, the light is changing quickly. That's okay. So at least for me, like fear is often a block to my creativity, and this reading offered fear more as like a portal. When I was taking Meisner, there was like one of the things that you can't do in it is you can't deny your feelings for something because you will inherently deny any feeling. So if you have to have access to all the feelings. If what you're feeling right before you get on stage is incredibly nervous, even if your character isn't starting the scene nervous, you have to just accept I'm feeling very nervous and fuck it. Like just do the scene. And let that like sort of portal to all of the emotions stay open. Otherwise, you can't pick and choose what you're open to. So that sort of like, of course, like you learn these lessons over and over and over again. But that with fear and creativity is like, and just living your life, like living a full, good life. Like if you're afraid of something, you can't deny that fear. You have to acknowledge it at least, and acknowledge it. For in Women Who Run with the Wolves, there's in the deconstruction of the Handless Maiden tale, there's a devil figure in the tale, and she talks about it, she analyzes it from the terms of like point of view of like, this is your psyche, like a part of your psyche. And she says, if you feel you have lost your mission, your oomph, if you feel confused, slightly off, then look for the devil, the ambusher of the soul within your own psyche. The devil in the story. If you cannot see, hear, catch it in the act, assume it is at work, and above all, stay awake, no matter how tired you become, no matter how sleepy, no matter how much you want to shut your eyes to your true work. In reality, when a woman has a devil complex, it occurs exactly like this. She is walking along, doing well, minding her own business, and all of a sudden, boom, the devil jumps out. And all her good work loses energy, begins to limp, cough some more, and finally falls over. What we might call the demon complex uses the voice of the ego, attacks one's creativity, one's ideas and dreams. In the tale, it appears as a ridicule or a cheapening of a woman's experience of the world and the underworld, trying to split apart the natural conjunctio of the rational and the mysterious. The devil lies and says a woman's time in the underworld has produced a brute, when in fact it has produced a beautiful child. I know that like I have very severe negative self-talk. And it like sort of, it is my number one obstacle in life, is how mean I am to myself. And acknowledging it as that fear, that voice of like, don't risk anything, don't try anything because you could be embarrassed. Is that really the worst thing that could happen? Acknowledging that for what it is it's a sort of, it is a sort of devil in the sense that it is blocking my connection to a higher power. And acknowledging that for what it is, that fear, that is helpful because it's in my own voice, you know, like the negative self-talk is in my own voice. You'll never do this, you'll never accomplish this. Like, it sounds familiar, but when you acknowledge it for what it is, not as truth, as fear, you just have to run towards that. Which is, I was listening to a Chloe Zhao interview this week, and she said I'm going to probably butcher it, but she said she had a deep, crippling fear of death, and the only natural thing for her to do was to become a death doula, which I thought was so, like, what a beautiful way to live your life. The only way, I'm so afraid of something, and the only way I can overcome it is if I understand it further and take the power back of that fear, and using fear instead of as a block to your connection, but as a portal, as saying, like, I'm afraid of something, let me run full force at that thing. And there's a quote also in The Artist's Way by Susan Jeffers that says, we cannot escape fear. We can only transform it into a companion that accompanies us on all our exciting adventures. Take a risk a day, one small or bold stroke that will make you feel great once you have done it. And it's like your fears can be a portal to creativity and to truth. And you just have to do it scared. And it's not, for me personally, it's not like the actual making of the art. It's more, sometimes it is. Sometimes I'm so afraid to fail or to misuse materials, or I feel I can get into like a lack mindset that I won't have enough materials, whatever. Mostly it's sharing my work and producing things and letting the world know that I want something. Growing up, I felt that there was somebody in my life that I felt kind of sabotaged me often. So wanting something, and then I, of course, replicated that relationship in a different or similar dynamic in another relationship later on that left me sort of, it felt like sabotage. It felt like anything I wanted was if I admitted it, would be ruined. If something was very precious to me, that thing would be broken. If an opportunity was really important to me, it would be sabotaged. If a person was really important, that person a rift would be created between me and another person. And I'm not denying all of my own agency in that. I could have, separated myself from at least the second person sooner. But it does create a sense of fear in sharing my desires. I am, but that kind of, I'm giving other people a lot of power over my life. I should just say what I want. I will just say what I want. Try to do it. And if anybody gets in my way, I'll just go around them. Maybe that path takes longer, but nobody has agency over my life anymore. So that's what I've been thinking about today, reflecting on. I'm going to make some art now. Okay, bye.